Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. Bill, what we're talking about today is, it seems to me that nobody wants to work anymore.
Right.
That's what we're talking about, that nobody really is into work anymore. And for some of the reasons, so I've been doing research into this, and some of the reasons, I kind of agree with them, okay, in a certain way. Is it worth working anymore?
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about, okay?
Right.
Because I know, like, one of my kids, he would love to just be able to travel around the world, work on his laptop, and make $1 million.
Me too.
And work when he wants.
Right.
These days of working 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., that was like a Henry Ford thing at the turn of the century. That's when they did the assembly line, and they kind of stuck, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Now more and more companies are going to 4-day work weeks, but 10-hour days.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, I know a few people that work 4-day,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, here's some of the reasons why they don't want to work anymore, okay? In the meantime, do me a favor, consider subscribing. It really helps out. And today's tip is clean out your gutters, okay? Because if you have leaves in your gutters and they block up, when it rains, it'll back up and you'll have rain inside your house, okay? People don't realize that when gutters are blocked because of leaves, the water could go inside your house, and then you won't realize that before you know it, you could have mold. That's the tip of the day. All right, one of the reasons, and that's for a thank you for subscribing. So one of the reasons that just jobs don't pay that well, a lot of them. In order to let's talk about it. In order to buy a house, okay, really, and to live comfortably, you have to make, what, 140?
I think it was 107 to buy like a
Start
250. Yeah, we're talking to start a home. But if you go up from that 300,000.
Okay, so say you have to make 150,000, okay, to buy a home. Let me ask you guys a question. Now I'm not saying combination with, your husband or your wife or whoever. Do you guys make $150,000 a year right now? I mean, that's a lot of money.
It is. So, okay, let's set some context here.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy a house, are we talking this is you're 20 some odd years old, you're buying your first house, or are we talking you're established? I mean, there's a lot that goes into that number, and there's a lot that just goes into that. But in general, really, you just have to look at how much you're making as a combined income or a single income before you buy a house, because you have to have so much money to put down money and to get a loan.
Yeah, here's another reason why some people are discouraged about working too, is lack of benefits in healthcare. Like, I'm lucky, I'm on my wife's healthcare plan for her job, and if anybody's listening, thank you for that. But at the same time, we're still paying over $1,000 a month out of her paycheck.
Yeah.
I remember the days, okay, when they wouldn't take any money out.
Right.
Or
employer paid benefits were 100%.
Yeah, when you were a fireman, you didn't pay anything out, right?
No, we not for the employee. For family, you paid additional, but for the employee, that was part of our benefits package. Mm-hmm. Because we have a group rate. I mean, we had what, 8,000 or 9,000 people.
Yeah,
in the
but
city.
it was also a hazardous thing too. Here's another reason why a lot of young people and some older people just don't want to work. It's toxic work environment, they're saying. High stress, harassment, and poor management. Okay, everybody feels that they're better than the manager that they're working for.
Of course, yeah. Like, your manager's an idiot, and
you know better and stuff like that. Okay, I hear that all the time. That's not always true, but but I think some of the younger people, and I'm just throwing this out there, and I feel for you guys, but you have to grow a little bit of thicker skin sometimes.
Having been a manager.
Yeah.
And an officer at the fire department, and I had younger people work for me. It was a noticeable difference, and it was nice because you kind of saw this raw kid come in that was more like, what do you know? how do you, it's like, well, because I've been doing this for 20 years. And I know a little bit, right? Like, I'm not perfect. All young people, myself included, you always think you know more, right? Because you're faster, younger, hip, the tech and all this other stuff. But you started to see people morph because you don't know what you don't know sometimes. So you know what you read at school, you know what you came into, you know what you watch on YouTube and stuff like that. But then when that real world experience kicks in and you get that first call or you have that first problem at your job that book didn't help you with, then that's when the experience kicks in and that becomes humbling. And that's when I noticed a lot of the younger guys that came into the firehouse that was that switch.
Okay.
They would have that. And I think that pertains to the real work world too. I don't have too much experience with that because obviously I was a firefighter and then I work by myself now. But
here's another reason why a lot of people just don't want to go get a job. They'll get a job if it's remote work. So the desire to work remotely, like I told you about my son.
Yeah.
If you want to give my son a job, he wants to work from his laptop and he wants to travel the world and just pay him $1 million and he's good to go.
Listen, if you've got that job, I'm not even going to look for $1 million. I'll do $250. So if you know of something, let me know. And I got some computer skills.
All right, what about this one? You probably can talk about this one. Some people just don't want jobs because they like the gig economy appeal. Freelance gigs, job offerings, flexibility. What's a gig thing like?
Gig. Oh, you mean like Uber?
Ubering, yeah.
DoorDash, because I use DoorDash all the time. But gig economy, I think, could really kind of...
writing a book, doing YouTube, that's a gig.
Yeah, that's technically, it could expand into different things.
But they're into that. Maybe have 3 or 4 gigs and have more flexibility.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you start really kind of looking into the numbers, I've been working on a project. I'll let you guys know about it here in a few weeks. We'll talk about it because I know you and I are doing this other project and I got another side one kicking.
That's why we want you guys to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe so you know that it's coming and I'll let you know. But, I think that really, in the interim, it could do something, or you could use that gig economy to augment your regular income. Work because you're working when you need to. You click the app on, right? Like, what did I say, DoorDash or Instacart or something along those lines. And you click the app on and you can go make a couple bucks. Like, let's say you I need extra money for a vacation. Well, there you go.
I did the DoorDash thing and it was an older gentleman that showed up. So it's not just young people. The older people are doing it too.
Oh, if I was like retired, I think I could do that just to get out of the house.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. Is that where was he just like?
Yeah, he was like retired.
Yeah, just something you can't just sit on the couch.
No. He did take 5 minutes to walk from his car to front of my door. But
well, he's not in any rush.
He's not in a rush, I'll tell you that much.
Hopefully your ice cream, if you had ice cream, was in a freezer bag.
Yeah. All right. How about this one? People don't want to get a job because the career mismatch. Jobs don't align with their personal interests or career goals.
I'd agree with that.
They're just like, no, I don't want to go do that. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
Even though it pays good, I'm just not interested in it.
No, I get that.
Give me something I'm interested in.
Right, but it's like, so did they go to school for something that then they decided they weren't interested in it and they got to just do it? Or is it just like, even if you don't like your job, you need money. So you got to go work.
All right, what about this one? People are just burnt out. Pandemic-induced exhaustion, mental health struggles. I feel like, not me, but I know a lot of people they take antidepressant medicines, and like back when I was younger, I never heard of it, but now it seems like a lot of people. I'm not saying it's not good, and I'm not saying don't take it, but I mean it's just like maybe it was around always, but now it's just more prevalent. People talking about it more.
I think that in situations like that, I think it was always kind of there, and we just didn't know how to necessarily classify it, and we didn't want to put it out there because maybe there was a stigma to it. Now there's maybe not so much.
Maybe
of a
not as much of a stigma. And trust me, if you need help, you should go get help.
Absolutely.
If you need to take medicine, take medicine. But at the same time, what I'm saying is some people just don't want to get jobs because they don't feel like they can handle it mentally.
Right, and if you're that far gone, then you probably do need to be talking to somebody very
like a doctor. We're not doctors, but it was just our opinions.
Right, but if you're just like, I just don't want to go to work because I can't stand working for this dude or that gal, whatever. Sometimes work sucks. At the end of the day, we gotta work.
You know, and some people just don't want to get a job because of job insecurities. They just feel like, oh, the job is not going to last long and stuff. You know, they want a long-term goal situation. You know,
okay.
Or some people just don't want to. They don't have the skills. Okay, skill gap, lack of required skills, experience for certain roles.
Right. I mean,
Go to school.
Right, but that makes sense. So, here's maybe a catch-22. Let me know what you think on this one. You don't have a certain skill to do something, and you have to go to school, but that costs money. Mm-hmm. So you can't go to school because school's like full-time during the day, and then, when are you going to work? Well, sometimes you're going to have to make a sacrifice.
Yeah, I know a girl. She's a sweet girl, but she's becoming a nurse. She goes to school all day, and then she pretty much works all night. I don't know how she does it, but she's working her butt off because she wants to be a nurse.
Yeah, but I mean that's it. Nothing worth having really comes without sacrifice. You have to sacrifice something and a little hard work. And obviously I would say that that's probably easier for a younger crowd than an older crowd, to where you have more responsibilities like us. To go back to school would be very difficult, I think.
Oh, absolutely. All right, here's another one. Some people just don't want a job because they're waiting for the better opportunity elsewhere, seeking higher pay and more meaningful work. They're like, nah, I'm not going to take that one. I'm going to wait till something else comes back by later.
And then just not work at all.
And not work later. Play video games.
Oh, okay. The dreamer. Maybe just a dreamer there.
Some people don't want to work, okay, or work full time because work-life balance is preference to, they'd rather spend time with family or personal pursuits or personal hobbies. And they're not looking to get that extra edge ahead. They're just like, okay, if I make X amount of dollars, I can pay my rent and buy food, so I'm not going to do anything extra.
Oh, so they're working, just not to their potential?
Their potential. Like they're not putting that extra effort. It's like a work-life balance. So they rather have a good time than work.
Oh, I got you.
So if this week, you need $500 a week. They're like, oh, I made $500 a week and $500 for this week, and I'm only 2 days into the week. So you know what? I'm taking the rest of the 4 days off.
Oh, I gotcha. So more of like a gig.
Laziness, I guess.
Yeah, and like they do the gig work until they get the money that they need, and then they're like, Beep, okay, I'm done. I've unplugged, and it's time for Xbox or whatever gaming system there's out there now.
A lot of people are just saying I just can't work because the transportation, costly, unreliable transportation to the workplace. A lot of people say, you know what, I want to get a job, I just don't have the right vehicle to get there and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, let's think about that. Like in our area, it would be tough because we don't have a huge mass transit. Like we don't have buses, that you could just hop on a bus and go. Like I remember not having a car when I was a kid, and I had to ride the bus to work a few times because my mom wasn't able to take me. And like I didn't have a car yet. I was a kid. And I remember hopping on the bus because it was pretty much a straight shot. But I don't even know if that bus runs anymore, to be honest. Like I'm thinking I don't think I've ever seen a bus around my area.
So I mean that makes sense, but you need a job in order to afford to buy a car. But if you don't have the job, why would you?
I would have to. I think if I was in that position, I would get a bike, and then I would find a job, and I would stair step. I would get a job to get some money to get my scooter, and then I would be able to go to the next spot, right? And if it rains, you wear a raincoat.
But you're thinking outside the box. Some people are not.
Okay. I'm just saying that it's feasible if you want to do it.
Here's one: housing instability. Like I know some people that want to work like in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, like they're in the restaurant business, but they literally can't afford to live there. The jobs are there,
right?
But they just can't afford to live in that area.
Right, and the commute costs more money to do the commute than it is what they make, right? Is that what you're kind of referring to, like some of that what we talked about before?
Yeah. Like I told my cousin many times, why don't you hire more people if you're busy? He's like, we can't find people.
Right, because they can't afford to live in the nice area where the expensive restaurant is. They don't make enough to live, and it's an hour, 2 hour commute, and it costs them too much money. Yeah, that's a tough spot.
Some people just saying they can't work because, they have health issues, which I understand.
Okay, I get that.
So we'll just leave it at that, but some people are like saying they have health issues, but they really don't. Like, I know, some people that say, oh, I can't work, but they're literally playing golf or going bowling almost every day.
Yeah. It's like, I have health issues, I can't work.
I was like, you can't work at
18 holes every day.
Walmart. You can't work at Walmart or whatever to stock shelves, just something to do, but you could go and play 18 holes. I'm like, all right.
Right.
In 90-degree weather.
Right.
And carry your clubs.
Which is not easy to do.
No.
I did it once. It was horrible.
I couldn't do it.
I was much younger.
A lot of people are saying they just can't work because, hey, they want to continue their education,
Right, that's fine.
And they're like, hey, so what are they doing? They're like, I'll live with my parents.
Yep.
And I'll go to school 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day.
Okay.
But education commitments.
But hey, they're thinking outside the box, right? They're making a sacrifice because they don't live on their own. They're moving back in with their parents so they can continue their education and then move on to what they really, really want to do.
Here's one that some people can't work, and I kind of understand this one, okay? And I agree with this one, is childcare costs, expensive, unavailable childcare option. Childcare is super expensive.
Yeah, I honestly, on this one, when both parents are working, the expense of childcare almost eats up one salary. And I know in some circumstances, it probably takes up a salary. So it's more beneficial to work at home.
Yeah. I mean, that one makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because of childcare, I mean, something has to happen with child's care, I agree with that. Disillusionment with corporate culture, lack of trust in organizations, the big corporations. Okay, confession, I couldn't work for a big corporation. Yes, I'm self-employed, but I don't think I could ever go work, and be a number in a company. I mean, a lot of people do it, and there's benefits to being in a big corporation, but it's just not me. So if somebody offered me a job, even making a lot of money in a big corporation, I probably would turn it down.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that, and I understand it. There's people that just they've always kind of been that entrepreneur where they've had their own company and done their own thing. So trying to go to a corporate world, the only thing I can equate it to is going from a paramilitary organization to civilian organization, where I just don't understand how it works because it's weird, but it would be tough. Yeah, I can see that.
You just nailed the next one. Entrepreneurial spirit, starting your own business. That's me. I actually wrote a book, okay, on how to start your own business. Just go to Amazon. It's on Audible too.
Oh my God.
But put in my name. It's a good book. Yeah. I actually wrote a book about it. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just saying. I did write a book on how to start a business. Okay, don't you agree with that? Some people just want to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's people that just, it's not in their nature, or because they've been an entrepreneur and owned a company on their own, it's very hard to transition into working for somebody.
Yeah, and a lot of people that just start companies, they don't make it, it's true.
Well, yeah, that aside, but having somebody who owned a company, ran a company, and then trying to go work for somebody is very hard.
All right, early retirement. Some people just left the workforce because they want to retire early. They don't want to work.
Yeah.
You retired early from the.
Yeah,
you were young.
But I did my time.
You did your time, but
I collected my full retirement. So but then that's where you have to make a decision. What are you going to do after the fact? Because you're too young to retire per se. But.
And here's the one that's my biggest pet peeve. I saved it for last. Is government assistant. I met a few.
I was wondering if you're going to bring that one up.
I met a few people, and I said, "Hey, you know what? I could use some help, or this person needs a job." They're like, "You know what? I make more money off, the government, or whatever, than it's not worth it for me to work." Okay, I'm going to get slammed on this one, but if you could work. I think it's self-fulfilling. I think it makes you feel better, too, than just living off government or whatever. I won't get into it,
No, I get it. I know where you're going with this, and I agree with you. I think that need for that, and I think
Of course,
people absolutely have to
I'm
have
not
that.
knocking it, but
No, you're not. No, not at all. You didn't say that at all. I agree with you that there is a need for it, and I think, and it is a again, I personally, I think that these fall into these catch-22s. It's like people need sometimes some help to get over a hurdle, and we have that those assistance programs for those reasons, and I think they're great, but they're almost enabling to a point for some of them, because if you get a job, and I've found that most people do want to have a job of sorts, like the jobs that they can get pay them the same amount of money that they get not having the job, or just a little bit less.
Right.
And so it doesn't help. It doesn't make sense to work.
No, it doesn't.
Because a lot of times from people that I've met and had conversations with, it's more because of childcare. Because childcare is so outrageous. I know we're going to go on a soapbox here, but I don't disagree with you on there, and I think it's useful.
I mean, some people have the opportunity to work, but they know the system, and the system is broken, I think.
Right.
But anyways, that's today's video. Check out this video right here. I picked it out just for you guys. It's a really good one. And do me a favor, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. I know I say it a lot, but we're trying to get motivated more than we are. We're very motivated, and we're working on some really good projects
we got some
right
cool
now.
stuff coming.
We have really cool stuff coming. So consider subscribing. Thank you, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
See you on the next video. Thanks.